Hi, my name is Fran Benton, and I'd like to show you some of my 3 favorite lichens. I've studied lichens for many, many years, and I want to share some of the most beautiful and unusual ones with you. This lichen is Stereocolon, or snow lichen, and as you can see, it forms a beautiful white mat on the ground in forest areas. It grows on moss and over rocks and soil, never on trees. The name Stereocolon refers to a short, upright, shrubby little lichen that's actually solid inside instead of hollow. This is a very important diagnostic feature that helps you tell the difference between one lichen or another. In this case, the plant itself is very short, stocky, has these little protrusions on the outside, is bone white, and in this case, this one is slightly pinker on the other side. It has 2 methods of reproduction. It can reproduce by either spores from its apothecia, or it can reproduce simply by breaking apart and being blown around on the moss, or distributed by the wind or the water or the elements. Stereocolon is a huge group of lichens that are found worldwide. Here in the Pacific Northwest on Vancouver Island, it's common in very undisturbed areas over moss and rock, out in forested areas usually, but it's also found on the lava and the volcanoes of Hawaii. British Columbia has many species of Stereocolon, but none of them rival the spectacle that is Stereocolon Volcani. This volcanic Stereocolon lives in 2 places on Earth, the Big Island of Hawaii and Reunion Island on the Indian Ocean. It lives in such a specific spot. It is the first colonizer of fresh lava. On Reunion Island, it arrives almost as soon as the lava cools. In Hawaii, it favors the areas of high rainfall, especially on the mountain pass between Hilo and Kona. In that location, moisture-laden warm air rises from the coast at Hilo. As it rises up Mauna Loa, it releases its rain on the slope. At this point, the highway shoulders become shockingly white with the lichen. A similar vista greets the visitor who drives up the hill on Holoko Road above Kona. The swirling mists at both sites create a cloud forest. This is a completely different view of Hawaii than is enjoyed by the visitor at sea level. As it creates colonies and matures on the lava boulders, it allows other plants to grow there too. This includes small ferns, flowering plants, tree ferns, and the tree Ohia lahua. It is worth mentioning that the Big Island and the island of Reunion are both actively volcanic. Fumes from the volcanoes contain sulfuric acid. This can damage the lichens, but they seem to be able to recover quite well. Lace lichen, or Ramalina menziesii, is similar to Stereocolon in that they are both shrubby lichens. Lace lichen hangs in long, lacy strands from trees. They are most common on trees facing seaward. Here in Cowichan Bay, they favor the huge big-leaf maples. They also like to grow on arbutus trees. Lace lichen is a fishnet-like structure with thick and thin strands in the net and hangs almost a meter from the tree. Windy, wet ocean breezes provide an abundance of nutrients for these lichens. Lace lichen grows only on the Pacific coast from Alaska south to Baja California, and it is the state lichen of California. It can reproduce by breaking off fragments or sexually by fungal spores contained in apothecia. They are commonly used by birds as nesting material and browse for deer and their relatives. Native people have used lace lichen for sanitary uses. The Kaiwatsu people of California used lace lichen for its magical properties. They would place the lichen in water to produce rain, or throw it in the fire to prevent lightning and thunder. It can easily be confused at a distance with Spanish moss, which is a flowering plant. They can also be confused with two lichens, either bear's hair or old man's whiskers. These two lichens are from the genera Alectoria and Bryoria. Lung lichen is a large foliose or leaf-like lichen. It is common in humid forests. In our area, it's common on big leaf maple trees. Its range includes North America, Europe, and Asia. The name comes from the body of lichen because it actually looks like a lung. In older European civilizations, the doctrine of signatures convinced people if something looked like a body organ, it could probably cure problems in that organ. Pity the poor person that was made to breathe in powdered lung lichen. Lung lichen's real purpose is to enrich the forest with nitrogen and provide food for deer, elk, and moose. Chipmunks, squirrels, and birds use lungwort and other lichens for nesting material. Lung lichen is threatened worldwide by air pollution. Like all lichens, it needs clean, pure air to thrive. It can reproduce by vegetative means through dusty clumps of algae and fungi known as Ceridia or Acidia. It also produces sexual structures called apothecia on the upper surface. Lung lichen produces a strong dye, creating a beautiful red-brown color on wool. It's hard not to admire the lung lichen for its beauty and as an indicator of a clean, healthy environment. I hope you've enjoyed looking at 3 of the most attractive and unusual lichens near my home in the beautiful Cowichan Valley. I ask myself, why are lichens so interesting? And I think of many reasons. Lichens often have a very interesting sculptural form to their bodies. They often have the soft colors of green, gray, yellow, and orange. They have an unusual design and texture on their surfaces. There are so many varieties of lifestyle. They grow on rocks, soil, bark, moss, and even the leaves and needles of trees. Lichens are incredibly ancient, and they are a very primitive plant. Their association within their body lichens exist in almost all environments except deeper lakes and in the sea. They are used by animals such as ungulates as food, especially the caribou, and they are used by humans in many different ways. Okay.